Great. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 2020 Trustee Symposium for the City of Chesterfield. My name is Jim Eckrich. I'm the Public Works Director for the City of Chesterfield. Before we get started tonight, we'll kind of give you an overview and a few housekeeping items. There'll be 4 department presentations tonight, mine from Public Works, Justin Wise from the Planning Department, Tom McCarthy from the Parks and Recreation Department, and Cheryl Funkhauser from the Police Department. And then Mike Eisel, the City Administrator, will close the meeting. If you would, try to use the Q&A application on Zoom. That's how we're going to ask you to submit your questions tonight. There'll be an opportunity for questions after each speaker, and then we'll do one round of questions again at the end. So if you have the availability to do that, please do. If for some reason you can't ask a question tonight, you're certainly free to send an email or call us anytime. So it's certainly not your only opportunity. Before I get started, I want to say a big thank you to you. First of all, thank you for attending the symposium tonight. We're sorry it's virtual this way. I always enjoy this evening and an opportunity to get to meet many of you. I hate speaking into the microphone here and not knowing the reaction, but it will save you guys from a lot of my jokes. So you have that going for you. But again, thank you for attending. Thank you for being a trustee. That's on behalf of myself, the city administrator, the mayor, the city council. We really appreciate what you do for your subdivisions and what you do for our city. There's a lot of what we do here that we depend upon you for, whether it's disseminating information, getting information. We really appreciate what you do, and we hope you find tonight useful. So my first slide here, again, my name is Jim Eckrich. I'm the Public Works Director for the City of Chesterfield. I am a professional engineer, been with the city for about 7 years. I've been in Public Works for around 20. Tonight I'm going to talk to you about the items you see on your screen. I'm not going to read those to you. And tonight it's intended to disseminate information to you so that you know how to do things that otherwise you may not. It's not really meant to be a sales pitch for any of us and how great our departments are, but I will point out real quickly that the Public Works Department is internationally accredited. We're certainly proud of that. And I'll try to limit it there. Okay, if you only take one thing away from tonight and my portion of the presentation, I hope it's this: how to report a problem. There's really 2 best ways to do this. Number 1, you can call the city's front desk at any time, 636-537-4000, or you can use the report a problem feature on the city website. A lot of people think, oh, you have to know somebody, or hey, I know this person I'm going to call, he or she. Really, the best thing to do is report a problem this way. It's the fastest way to do it. If you really like me and you want to call me, you certainly can, but you might leave a message on my voicemail, and I'm going to enter the problem the same way that you can do it through one of these options. So this is really the best way to report a problem. If you decide to use the website, it's really easy. There's the report a problem function you see on your screen there with the arrow. You click on that. You enter your information in the spaces provided. And it's really important, if you put in your email address, you'll get an update every time any action is taken on that item. So it's really useful. It gives you more information. Quite frankly, it saves us some time of having to call you and update you. So we really ask that you provide your email if at all possible. And this is a sample of the email notifications that you'll get every time work orders changed. Okay, I'm going to talk to you about a few programs we have here. The first is going to be the Sewer Lateral program. Sewer Lateral is really a nice program. It's $28 a year that you pay as part of your real estate taxes. But if you're having a problem with your sewer lateral, and this isn't the mainline sewer, this is the portion of the sewer that goes from the outside your house to the sewer main, you first try to contact a plumber to open the line. If the line can't be opened, contact the Public Works Department, the number's here, or you can fill out an application online at the city's website, which is provided. There is a $100 application fee that pays part of the application of cameraing your sewer line and any cabling that our contractor has to do. The city contractor will perform camera inspections and make repairs if warranted. And again, it's funded by a $28 annual assessment. Street trees. The city of Chesterfield maintains all trees located in public right-of-way. We perform all the maintenance on these trees. This includes tree trimming, stump grinding, tree removals if necessary. If you have a question about a tree, and I'm going to keep harping back to this, go, contact the city at the general line or use the report a problem function. The city arborist is probably the person that gets more work orders than any other person here at the city. He's well versed in using the system. Please, enter your problems either of those two ways. If you like a tree, we do have a program where we plant trees here in the city in the right of way. The cost of that tree to you is about $100, and then there's the city pays about $200 of the cost. It's a total of about $300. You need to meet certain requirements. Has to be a certain kind of tree. The city arborist can work with you on that. If you're not sure, if the area is public property or your property, the city right of way where we plant a tree is typically the area between the street and sidewalk. If there is no sidewalk, it's generally within 12 feet of the pavement. You may have heard about the emerald ash borer. The emerald ash borer came to us from Japan and is killing all of our ash trees. We originally had almost 7,000 ash trees, I think 6,700. We're removing all of those over a 7-year period. We're in year 5 of that plan. We're down to about 2,200 trees now. So if you're wondering why there's a healthy tree being removed in your subdivision, it's likely has to do with the emerald ash borer. City, state, county roads. The city of Chesterfield maintains 176 miles of public roads. Most of those are subdivision roads. We do have some bigger roads, Wilson Avenue, Shetler, a few of the larger roads, but most of our roads are subdivision roads. Many of the roads in the city are maintained by the St. Louis County Department of Transportation. That includes White, Chesterfield Airport Road, Baxter. If you have a problem with the county road, the numbers here. Additionally, many of our roads are MoDOT roads. So I-64, Olive Clarkson, Long Road. You can reach MoDOT at the number I provided. Then there are also roads that are private. The city of Chesterfield does not maintain private roads. We don't maintain county roads. We don't maintain MoDOT roads. We only maintain the 176 miles of road that are the city responsibility. If you're not sure about something, not sure who a road is, you can certainly call in by any of the methods mentioned, and we can let you know whose road that is. If there's a problem there, we can report that for you. Most of the time, quite frankly, it's easier if you do it yourself. You've seen the problem, but we're certainly capable of doing that as well. Speaking of other roadways, I'm also going to use this time to touch on some of our utilities. Electric, gas, sewer, water. The city doesn't provide any of those services for you. Those are all provided by other agencies. So if you're having a stormwater problem, you certainly can call the city, but the regulatory for the stormwater is MSD. So they're going to be the ones that can address that for you. If your electric goes out and you call the city, we're not going to be able to help you. So we ask that you generally call the utility responsible first. If for some reason you're having a problem with them, we frequently do have some contacts there, but it's not, when we have a problem, it's not the first number we call, and we typically ask that you call the utilities. Call the utilities first, and then again, if there's a problem, we can try to help you with that. Street replacement. We have a capital projects fund dedicated to the replacement of city infrastructure. I mentioned the 176 miles of public streets. We rate those every 3 years for a third of the city each year. We obtain grants whenever possible. We spend $2 million plus in street replacement annually. That number varies based upon a number of factors. We did recently retire some debt in our capital projects fund, but with everything that's going on with COVID now, it's not quite certain what our future 5-year plan is going to look like, but it will be over $2 million a year in street replacement. Street repairs. You may notice there's problems on your street or some street in your subdivision. If so, use the report a problem function to report that. We do drive the streets regularly. We try to report problems ourselves, but we're not on that street nearly as often as you are. So if there's a problem there, don't hesitate to report it. Again, use the city's website, contact that main line. Sidewalk. In addition to our 176 miles of streets, we have approximately 260 miles of public sidewalk, which includes ADA ramps. We inspect these sidewalks in the same 3-year cycle as our streets. We currently allocate about $500,000 annually towards sidewalk replacement. And again, you've heard this report before. If you have a problem, use the report a problem function or contact the city. We address sidewalk problems all the time. Request for traffic signs. Again, same spiel. Report a problem feature on the city website or contact the city at the main lines to fit the best way to start that. Some signs, such as speed limits, no outlet, deer crossing, are set in accordance with city policy. Other signs, stop signs, no parking signs, those require support from the trustees, the petition of the area residents, and city council approval. Kind of depends on the sign, so if you're not sure, the best thing to do is probably contact us and we can assist you. You know, if there's any problems you're not sure, you certainly are welcome to contact me. Snow removal is one of the most important things we do. Some years it seems like we get a lot of snow, some years not so much. In the recent past, it's been a lot of ice storms. It takes a lot of time and effort to monitor those and make sure we're making the appropriate treatment to our streets. So we do watch the weather very closely. We pre-treat when appropriate. We have 2 full maintenance crews that work 12-hour shifts during snowstorms. That's comprised of public works personnel and parks personnel. There are 10 snow maps which detail the exact route of drivers during a storm. It's turn by turn, the snow maps the drivers follow. That ensures that no streets are ever missed. And then our trucks are monitored by supervisors as well as a GPS system. A few years ago, we started a pretty popular program where we remove windrows from residents that have that qualify with a medical condition. That's when no one likes when the snowplow comes through. You've recently, shoveled your driveway and you're marveling at how nice it looks. The snowplow comes through and dumps the snow from the street onto your driveway. There's really no way to avoid that. The only way to get the problem off the city streets is to move it to the adjacent parcel, in the same way that when the state and county do their streets, they dump their snow onto us. It's really, unfortunately, just the way that it has to be done in order to remove snow from 176 miles of streets. But the windrow program is popular. If you ever have problems with snow removal, again, please contact us. The last item I'm going to talk to you tonight about is the solid waste contract. Solid waste, kind of like the utilities I talked about before, is provided by, not provided by the city, but by a contractor, Republic Services. You pay Republic directly for that service to your house. We're currently in year 7 of a 7-year contract with them. We are currently negotiating an extension that'll go to City Council for approval. Trash includes trash and recycling. If you want yard waste, that is an option, but it costs an additional fee. There's also a senior citizen discount for anybody. I think it's year 65 and over. I'm not positive about that. I think it's 65, but you can get a 10% discount for seniors, and we're actually trying to negotiate a little bit of a higher rate for our renewal. If you have questions regarding solid waste, you can direct those to Republic Services at the number provided. If you have problems with Republic, you can certainly contact the city. So that's it for Public Works. I'm going to take some time to answer any questions. Mike, are there any questions right now?
There are no questions as of now.
Okay, no questions as of now. If you want to submit any during the entire presentation, feel free to do so. I'm going to stick around and be available to answer those at the end. So I'm going to turn it over to Justin Weiss, the Director of Planning. Justin, have at it.
Thank you. Again, my name is Justin Wise. I'm the Director of Planning for the City of Chesterfield. So similar to how Jim went through in providing resources for trustees, that's kind of our main focus tonight, are what are the resources the city provides and how can you interact with the planning department to help out the residents in your neighborhoods and ultimately be a partner with the city. So again, I've got kind of my 5 bullet points that I'm going to go through, similar to how Jim had his set up. So the first one and the main takeaway that I would have for tonight for the planning department is, if you have a question, call, email, or stop by and ask to talk with the planner of the day. So between the hours of 8:30 and 5, Monday through Friday, as long as it's not a holiday, we have a rotational schedule set up where we've got a professional planner available for any and all questions that you have. So if you want to know, how do you get a permit? What needs a permit? What types of signs are allowed? What are your building setbacks? I saw something going on down the road. What is that project going on and what's it going to be? Call our planner of the day. The only thing I will mention is it's a pretty popular program. So if we don't get to your call right away, leave a message. Within an hour or two, we will get back with you. If you call at the end of the day, it might be the next morning. But we are there, we are available, and we are helpful. Like I said, we are open for business right now, so you can stop by City Hall as well, but we are encouraging call or email first. One of the areas where we interact, the planning department interacts with trustees and residents frequently is in our municipal zoning approval. So you'll hear the term MZA out of our department. So the city contracts with St. Louis County. They provide our building, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing permit services. However, before they will issue any of those permits, they require you to have the municipal zoning approval. So that runs through the Department of Planning. It's a fairly basic form, an application that says, what is the project you're doing, who do we contact, and who is the property owner. So one of the big issues we have, the property owner has to sign it. It can't be signed by a contractor. It has to be done by the property owners themselves. When we get these in, it really depends on the type of project that you're doing that dictates the type of plans that you have to submit with that. There's an application on our website at chesterfield.mo.us. Top right-hand corner of the screen, it says Forms and Permits. And you go under the Planning Department, and it's the application for municipal zoning approval. It's got several pages of types of projects that you're doing and what you need to submit. If you have any questions about what you need to submit, call our planner of the day. We'll walk you through the process. From a trustee perspective, anytime that we receive an exterior residential municipal zoning approval application in your neighborhood, we will send what we call a courtesy trustee notification email. So at the city, we do not enforce private indentures or homeowners association rules, but we do want to make sure that residents are aware that their trustees may have additional rules and regulations that are more restrictive than the city's. So we send that notification to the trustees. So if you see something come through and your neighborhood requires neighborhood approval of it, you know to reach out to that resident and let them know that before they start constructing their project, that they need to get trustee approval as well. So from a trustee perspective or from your resident's perspective, if they have questions on the process, reach out to our planner of the day, 636-537-4733 or pod@chesterfield.mo.us. Another area that we receive a lot of questions on and people just generally curious is, hey, I see some grading going on or I see some work being done down the road. What's happening there? So we have developed what we call our active development database. So the easiest way to get to it is if you go to chesterfield.mo.us, right on the home page, there's a button called Active Developments. The direct link to that site's on the screen. Once you get there, you have an option of how you want to view it. So on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, you'll see an image with a map with some polygons and numbers in there. That's the map feature. You can also view the developments by listing. What this is a listing, a comprehensive listing of every project that the city has going on right now, from zoning through occupancy. Every project, it's on this screen. You can click to get more information. So sometimes once we receive on the bottom left and the top, you'll see images of renderings of what the building is going to look like. We put those on there so you can see it. There's some high level information on what's going on with the project, but importantly, it gives you a direct contact with the city of who the planner is and who the engineer that are working on that are employed by the city. So it'll give you their email address and their direct line. If you want to know more, if you have questions, if you have concerns, reach out to us, ask questions. Again, if you see something going on and you don't want to look through it, give us a call. We're more than happy. You can reach out to the planner of the day. If they're not aware of it, they'll get you to the correct person to get you the information that you need. Fourth resource is what we call our resident information portal. So over the last probably 12 years or so, we've been actively working towards moving to more digital files. As we get those digital files available, we try to get them onto our website so that residents and property owners have access to those historic records. So that is under what we call the Resident Information Portal. Again, the direct link to that is on the screen below. You can also go to the city's website at chesterfield.mo.us. On the top left-hand side of the screen, you'll select the Residents tab, and there will be a link for the Resident Information Portal. So once you get into that area, you can search by address. So you can look for your property address and see the record, you know, if we've got the record plat that's available for you, ownership of the parcel, one call information. I think it has a whole host of maybe even the day that your trash is picked up. So it's kind of a collection of all of the information that we can put out that helps, whether it's you're looking for a copy of a plan to submit a permit and you don't want to have to track it down. You can look here first and you don't have to call us and you don't have to do it in regular business hours. You can go online and search and see if the information is available. The last area where the planning department and trustees work together is what we call our special activities permits. So these are coordinated through the planning department. We work with these generally affect multiple departments, but we try to coordinate it as a single point with the planning department for our residents or our neighborhoods. So if you have a neighborhood parade, or if you're doing some sort of a block party, outdoor music, if you have a resident that's doing a wedding at their property, they can submit a form to us. We take it in at the planning department. We'll coordinate with the parks, with public works, with the police department, figure out what's needed, and we can walk you or your residents through the process of what you need to get approval for that. So again, the final kind of walking away from the planning department that I want to leave you with, if you have a question, give us a call. Planner of the day at 636-537-4733. And with that, any questions?
Yeah, before you turn it over, there are a few questions for you, Justin. One trustee asked a question. One of our residents wants to replace their deck. Will they need trustee approval? The trustee in this case provided all the text of their indentures, but I don't think that changes your answer.
So from the city's perspective, we do not require trustee approval. So we do not have the ability to enforce private regulations. So we do not require approval. What we do is we try to make sure through those notification emails that both the resident and the trustees know that there's a project going on and that they may need to coordinate. So we do not have access to the several hundred sets of regulations through the private indentures that exist in Chesterfield. Our role is we try to promote coordination, but we enforce city regulations.
Thank you. The next question that's online for you is, does the resident information portal include information for private subdivisions?
Yes. In fact, a lot of that is what's included in there. So you will see there are times when you can go through and it's not a complete set of information. It's kind of a work in progress as we scan older files in particular, getting those added into the system. We're working on it, but it's certainly not 100% active as far as what's in there. But private subdivision information is absolutely included in there if we have it available digital. If you don't have it and you're looking for something, call the planner of the day. If we don't have it digital and you call us, we'll dig through the archives, we'll go down into the basement and we'll scan it and we'll send it to you, and then we'll try to get it on our website so we don't have to do it again.
All right, can you advise whether or not shingle replacement requires a permit?
So that determination actually gets made through St. Louis County. So they do the building permit review and issuance. So I'm not 100% sure if that does require, and I think sometimes there's some nuances. I believe if you're simply doing shingle replacement, it does not require a permit. However, if you're doing any work beyond that, it can require a permit. My strong recommendation, call St. Louis County at 314-615-7155. That's their Public Works Department, and they can give you an absolute answer. Or call our planner of the day, ask them, and we can have someone reach out to the county for you.
The last question I think that's on deck for you is, are there any cases where a fence installation would even require to have a city application or awareness?
So there are situations where a fence would require a permit from the city. So in general, fences 6 feet tall or less do not require a permit unless you have a pool. So when you have a pool, there are separate building code requirements where you have to have a barrier for safety reasons. And if you go over 6 feet in height with the fence, then it becomes a structure, and it has building permit requirements as well as setback requirements. But in any other instance, if you don't have a pool and if you're 6 feet or less, the city does not require a permit, and we do not need to see anything for it.
All right, I've got 2 follow-up questions for City Engineer Eckrich, if he'd like to step up. The first question is, the reimbursement program for snow removal for private neighborhoods still available?
It was available in 2020, and in the fall of this year, City Council will make a determination as to whether that reimbursement is available for 2021. That is a program that is considered each year by City Council. That will go to Planning and Public Works likely in November. Once we get information on that, we'll disseminate it to the subdivision trustees. For anybody that's not familiar with that program, if you have private streets, the city obviously doesn't plow your streets. If those private streets are not gated, the city will reimburse you a portion of your cost based upon a rather complicated formula that I can't explain right now.
All right, the last question for you is, will the contract renewal for Republic Services look at single-use recycling, since a lot of communities have had to change to that due to changes in what is acceptable?
So Republic has not changed what is acceptable for us. And we talked about the contract negotiations are ongoing. We have talked to them about recycling, and I do not anticipate any changes. We think the single stream will still be permitted, but that is something that we've talked to them about, and there probably will be some language in the contract that puts in some parameters for any kind of changes that may be necessary for the next contract. Were there any more questions, Mike?
No, that's it. We're up to date.
Okay, I think the next speaker is Captain Cheryl Funkhauser with the Police Department.
Sure. I was just asked to tell you the man behind the curtain that's been talking is our City Administrator, Mike Eisel. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I feel very fortunate to be able to be here on behalf of the Chesterfield Police Department. The first thing I want to stress is our partnership with you is probably the most important aspect of this entire presentation. We really do rely on the citizens of Chesterfield and the relationship that we've built with the trustees to help us do our job. We ask that if you see any suspicious behavior, you call 911 immediately. If you perceive a traffic-related safety issue in your neighborhood, you call us. If you have a problem in your neighborhood, you call us. And due to a recent uptick in thefts from vehicles and stolen vehicles that we've been experiencing here in the city of Chesterfield, we are begging you to help us encourage your residents to lock your cars and to take your valuables inside. And even more importantly, if you have a key fob for your vehicle, don't leave that key fob within your vehicle. Of the recent thefts that we've been experiencing of stolen vehicles, the majority, almost all of them, have either had the key fob in the car, left in the unlocked car overnight, or the keys have been left in the unlocked car overnight. So we're pleading with you to please get that information out to your residents to help us do our job and to make everything a little bit easier on everyone. First of all, the police department has 99 commissioned police officers. It's divided into 3 divisions, and the biggest division within the department is our patrol division. the majority of the officers that you see driving around every day in the police cars, you see walking around in our commercial districts, that you interact with at community events, are probably assigned to the patrol division of our police department. Our department is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're in the residential areas, we're in the commercial and retail areas. We have 8 officers that are assigned specifically to patrol the retail areas and the parks areas in our cities. And so you will see our officers pretty much anywhere, that in a police car, in the neighborhoods, in the commercial areas, and at any of the number of special details and community events that we have here in the city of Chesterfield. One of the things that we get a lot of calls about are traffic related issues within the city. Our traffic enforcement philosophy is that we focus our enforcement efforts on those areas with high incidence of accidents and complaints. A lot of those complaints come in through citizens here in Chesterfield, business owners here in Chesterfield. Our traffic unit actually has a priority street maintenance matrix that they maintain, and our traffic supervisor not only pushes the information about those trouble spots out to the 5 officers that are specifically assigned to the traffic unit, but they also share that information with those officers that are patrolling your neighborhoods so that they may help in spotlighting those issues and enforcing or increasing the enforcement efforts in those areas. We have 5 speed signs that we can post in your neighborhoods to monitor the traffic in the neighborhood, to log the different speeds. We can later go back and see what the frequency of the speeding violations are, and we can add those locations to our priority street matrix so that we can focus on those trouble spots in your area. If you have a traffic problem in your neighborhood, please call our department and ask to speak to the traffic supervisor, or email the traffic unit at the email address provided below, trafficsafety@chesterfield.mo.us. One of the units within our department is our community-oriented policing and problem-solving unit. This unit works in our community affairs unit. It's comprised of the officers from our community affairs unit. And that unit is tasked with working with our residents and businesses to deal with those issues that are persistent, reoccurring issues that primarily affect the quality of life in your neighborhoods. The cops officers work hand in hand a lot of times with our code enforcement inspector to resolve those issues, such as, waste container issues, barking dog issues, anything, like I said, that would affect your quality of life. Those are issues that our cops unit focuses on and tries to resolve for our residents. If you have any questions, concerns, situations that you would like to bring to our attention, by all means, please contact our department or contact our community affairs directly at the email address shown there on the screen at comaffairs@chesterfield.mo.us. As I mentioned before, our code enforcement inspector does work hand in hand with our cops officers. Our code enforcement deals with a lot of the more commonly more common issues that she deals with are those related to high grass, waste container complaints, the storage of waste containers. They do need to be shielded from view of the street. She deals with issues concerning sump pumps and downspout drain pipes. There's a whole variety of issues that she deals with. She is very busy. But she is also very responsive to our residents. She sent over 400 notices last year of violation. And that's on top of the almost 400 telephone calls that she handles, just answering questions about different violations and trying to resolve issues with our residents. Again, you can reach out to our code enforcement inspector through our community affairs division, simply by calling our police department or emailing at comaffairs@chesterfield.mo.us. Some of the other programs that I want to highlight that our department offers is the vacation inspection program. This is a program that allows citizens to contact us prior to leaving for vacation to fill out a form with us. You can fill it out over the telephone. Our clerks will take the information for you. And then that form is stored in a secure location here at our department. And officers then go by to check your residence while you're gone to make sure that everything is in order. When you get back from your vacation, we simply ask that you call us so we can pull that vacation check paperwork and mark that everything was okay when you returned. Another program that we have are our open garage door letters. So during the course of their normal patrol, primarily in the overnight hours, our police officers drive through the neighborhoods and make note of residences that have garage doors that are open. And they'll actually leave a notice at the residence that their garage door was found open. What we have found is a lot of their property thefts are crimes of opportunity. And last year, our officers left over 2,900 notices of garage door open garage door notices. So, you know, that's 2,900 opportunities that somebody had to, you know, take something from that residence. So we're asking you to please share that information with your neighborhoods, make sure that they're vigilant in locking up their cars, their homes, you know, closing their garage doors at night. Another program that we have is our community camera program. So if you have a video camera in or around your residence and you would like to register that with the police department, we store that information in a secure database here. And then later, if there's a crime that has occurred in your neighborhood, our police officers may contact you and ask you for permission to view that video footage to help us see if, one, if the crime was captured on video, and two, see if we can solve that crime by viewing that. We are also part of the Ring Doorbell Neighborhood Public Safety Service portal, and that also allows us to get on to that portal, post information that is, you know, relative to those neighborhoods, maybe reach out to citizens to see if anybody had witnessed anything or has any video evidence on their Ring doorbell that they'd be willing to share with us. One of the programs that we have that operates out of our Community Affairs Division, our Community Affairs Bureau, is our Neighborhood Watch program. Many of our trustees are actually involved in the Neighborhood Watch program. We have other people within the neighborhoods too that have volunteered to be block captains or chairpersons. Those people really become our conduit between our police department and the communities. This is how our officers in our community affairs unit push out the information to our residents about the crimes that have occurred in their areas. And this is also how they ask for help in solving those crimes. But also through that program, our officers in the community affairs unit are available to provide neighborhood meetings with your neighborhoods, to update you on crimes that have occurred in your area, to provide security surveys to your residents, and just provide any other helpful safety information or crime reduction information to your areas. Again, feel like I'm repeating constantly, but please contact our Community Affairs Division at comaffairs@chesterfield.mo.us if you have any questions or any interest in getting involved in the Neighborhood Watch program. So like most cities in St. Louis County, Chesterfield does struggle with the increasing deer population in our area. Our city has conducted 2 annual deer counts, and as of now, we have a 3rd count that we plan to conduct in the early part of 2021. We do currently allow for bow hunting on half-acre parcels within the city. And last year, letters were sent out to all the neighborhood trustees detailing the city's requirements for permitting hunting on private property, or I'm sorry, any property within a residential neighborhood. And that packet also included all of the information on the paperwork that was needed, the regulations that needed to be filed that regards the deer hunting or archery hunting in the neighborhoods. If you are interested in receiving an informational packet regarding the subject, please contact Diane Johnson at our police department at 636-537-3000. Solicitors have kind of quieted down because of COVID, but normally this time of year we do see an increase in soliciting. And so I want to share with you some of the highlights of the city's soliciting ordinance. First of all, the city requires that any individuals going door to door selling items or services, they need to first obtain a license, a solicitor's license to the city. It does not include placing placards or flyers or anything on your door. A person must actually have to ring your doorbell or knock on your door in order for the solicitor's permit law to apply to them. Organizations with a valid 501c3 are exempt from the solicitor's licensing requirement if they have a copy of the documents verifying the organization's 501c3 status on their person. A couple other things that are to note about the solicitor's law is they are prohibited from knocking on a door that displays the no solicitors, no peddler sticker. And if you're interested in getting those stickers, they are available at our City Hall front desk, our customer service desk. They must carry their solicitor's license with them, and you are completely entitled to ask them to show you a copy of that license, and they must produce that when they're asked. They can only knock or solicit at your front door of your residence. So if any of them go to the back door of your residence or a side door of your residence, by all means, feel free to contact us. That is in violation of the law, of the solicitor's law. They're only required, or only allowed, to solicit between the hours of 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. November through March, and 9 a.m. and 8 p.m. April through October. Anytime you have a solicitor at your home, if they treat you rudely or otherwise make you suspicious or uneasy, please do not hesitate to call us at 636-537-3000 and report that to us. Thank you. One of the last services that I want to talk to you about that our police department offers that we're very proud of is the relationship that we've formed with the school districts here in the city of Chesterfield. We are currently staffed with 10 school resource officers. We have 6 of those officers work at the various high schools and middle schools within the city of Chesterfield and Clarkson Valley, and 4 others split their time between 13 other schools here in Chesterfield. The officers assigned to the school resource function are assigned to the Bureau of Patrol, and they regularly provide extra patrol to school children, especially in the area of the neighborhoods, neighborhood bus stops, and the neighborhoods surrounding the schools, specifically during those times where the school children would be, you'd see an increase in foot traffic to and from schools. The officers from our community affairs unit also work very closely with our school resource officers, and they do participate in many of the school safety presentations and provide DARE training in the Rockwood Elementary and some private schools here in Chesterfield. So to kind of wrap this up, I want to reiterate the importance of the communication between us and our citizens here at Chesterfield. You as trustees really do provide that much needed conduit between us and your residents, and we rely on you to get our information to them. The residents and trustees, you're all encouraged to call the police department anytime if you have a question or concern. You're also encouraged to develop a relationship with our community affairs unit. I know I've mentioned them several times in this presentation. They are a very vital component of our department. And again, they do have the most contact with our residents after the fact. You know, when you see a police officer on the street, after that initial contact, our community affairs unit probably is the one that has the most contact with our residents. We have an excellent social media and notification network that we constantly feed information through. So we encourage you to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And before I turn this over to the next presenter, I just need to tell you that the men and women of the Chesterfield Police Department feel truly fortunate to be able to serve the citizens of the city of Chesterfield. And we send our wholehearted thanks for your continued support of our department. So to turn it over now to our Director of Parks, Recreation, and Arts, Mr. Tom McCarthy. Do we have any questions?
Good evening. My name is Tom McCarthy, as Cheryl said. I'm the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Arts. And we have a similar format to Justin and Jim and the rest of the presenters. So we'll go ahead and get started. I wanted to start off with letting you know that your Parks and Recreation Department is nationally accredited through the National Recreation and Parks Association. So there's only 5 in the state of Missouri departments that are accredited, and 176 throughout the United States. So we are very happy with the certification, and it takes a lot to get there, and we'll continue to strive to keep that certification and keep a professional department for you. So let's move forward. As you are out in the parks, or if you have a question or concern, the number here is on the screen for you. It's 636-812-9500. And you can call us pretty much during the week from 8 to 4:30, and someone will answer the phone. If not, between those hours, you can send us an email at the link below and ask a question or post a concern. If you see something in the parks or on the trails or at any of our facilities that concern you, or you have a question just out of curiosity, you can send your question or ask to that email address, and we'll get back to you quickly. Now, if it is an emergency, call the front desk or the police department, preferably the police department first. So, and Cheryl giving you those numbers. So in the past, in 2019, we completed our park master plan, our second park master plan for the city. So we listened to the residents, and we did a bunch of public meetings, and we sent information out to you, the trustees, and we got a lot of great input. So over the next few years, we'll be moving forward with a lot of those recommendations as our budget allows us to do that. And some of the things that we've already completed are, in Ward 3, there was this pretty boisterous concern about not having a park. Well, we were fortunately able to work with Logan University off of Shetler Road, and we will be building a park shortly. We put a sign up there right off of the south entrance, and we have 4 acres to develop a park. One of the other things that the residents told us they wanted was more pavilions. So we added a pavilion last year with Municipal Park Grant in Central Park, and there will be another pavilion down at the new Logan Park. We're moving forward with some development on the Riparian Trail that's being handled currently by Public Works, because that was one of the recommendations, more trails and green space. So here's a picture of the Logan Park sign that will be right off Shetler Road. And we look forward to getting the playground and other items in there, depending on funding and how that moves forward. One of the other big questions we get on a regular basis, probably one of the ones that come in quickly at the beginning of the year, is pavilion rentals. So we have multiple pavilions now, which is nice, 2 of them in Central Park. So if you're interested in renting a pavilion, you can download the application on the website, and the link is here on the presentation, or you can call City Hall, and we can help you through that process. We typically start pavilion rentals the day after President's Day reservations. They do go quickly. We only rent to residents of the city of Chesterfield and businesses in the city of Chesterfield. So if you haven't seen our new pavilion in Central Park, when you're out and about, stop by and see it. It's quite a gem. One of our best ways of communication is delivered to every resident door in their mailbox. And we've added something different this past year. We've combined the city newsletter and the Parks and Rec brochure. And so if you see the city newsletter and you flip it over, the Parks Guide's behind there. And the Parks Guide goes over a whole bunch of information, where the parks are, where the trails are, what art activities are going on. We have a calendar of events. There's older adult activities that go on. There's Citizens Committee for the Environment activities, Earth Day, Recycles Day, those kind of things. There's pool rental information, and there's a whole bunch of other information about your parks and trails and facilities. So if there's something that you don't see in there, give us a call and we'll get you the answer. Our next slide shows the amphitheater website, which the Central Park Amphitheater is one of the many crown jewels the city has, I think. And we do a lot of free events. We do ticket events. We do concerts and movies. And then there's also a bunch of other activities that happen up there. Pedal the Cause is one of our larger activities, but we also do a lot of fundraising work with other agencies, walks, runs, and different things like that. So also, when the amphitheater is not being used, it's just a great place to come out and read a book or have a picnic with your family. So, but check out the website and it'll tell you all of the activities that are coming up. This year's been a little bit depressing with COVID, but next year, I promise you that we will have an exceptional season. Our next slide is our website, and that goes over our parks. So on the website, if you click on the icon tree, and then you go to community events, you can also get an additional information on many of the different events that we offer. So that gets updated on a regular basis. And so you can also pull that information up with your phone. We also do a pretty extensive older adult program, and we do a senior sizzlers group. And we also participate in the Lafayette Older Adults Program with other cities over in Baldwin at their golf course. So if you're an older adult and you're interested in meeting up with other adults and maybe going on a trip or listening to an interesting speaker or having lunch, check that out. And if you have questions, give us a call. We also have the opportunity to become a friend of the park, and that's actually on our website. So if you go to the city's website, you click on the Parks and Rec icon, and then over on the left side where the red arrow is, you can see, click on that, and it'll bring you to an application which you can fill out. And by filling out the application, you'll get a coupon to the Family Aquatic Center, discounts on certain programs, you get a window decal, and then you get weekly updates on Get Active newsletter and tips about some stuff that's going on. Periodically, we have programs and events that get added after the brochure has gone to print and delivered to your house. And this is the best way to keep sort of front and center on what's being added as we go throughout the year. We also have a Living Legacy program. Sometimes people feel that they want to honor someone, a past a spouse, a friend, a child, for something special. And so we have a program where you can have a tree planted in a park or in one of our public spaces, and you can have a plaque on it. You can also do benches, potentially artwork, picnic tables and pavers. And then one of our newer facilities is our Veterans Honor Park, which is pretty amazing. And it was built in 2015. And if you haven't been out to Central Park to check that out, you need to stop by. There's a lot of history on the website for the Veterans Honor Park. And then there's also an opportunity if you want to remember a past veteran. You can purchase a brick and put a little note on the brick, inscribed, and then it gets placed in the Veterans Honor Park Plaza so people can remember them. And there's also some other opportunities there to sponsor if you're interested. So we also work with CCE. That's a Citizens Committee for the Environment Advisory Committee, and they do a lot of great work for the environment and not just the birds and bees and butterflies, but we also work diligently to get the information out about recycling, where to recycle, what to recycle. Two of the biggest events that CCE does is Earth Day in the spring, and then in the fall, we typically would have a big recycle day. This year is a little different because of COVID. So on November 7th from 9 to noon, we will have a shredding event at Central Park in the pool parking lot. And then we also do electronic recycling for a small fee through a company. So if you're interested in that, when you get your city newsletter, there's a little ad on the back about that. And if you have questions, you can give us a call, and we'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Here's a quick list of when, what, and where to recycle. And This is actually on our website also, but it's also, I put it in the presentation and it'll help you find a place if you want to get rid of paint or old tires or lumber or cloth. But we can also answer some questions for you if you need help with that. We also have opportunities in our Parks Department to volunteer. It's special events, concerts. We do honeysuckle hacks where we get rid of the invasive honeysuckle out in the parks. And we do for the parents and kids that are in the Eagle Scout program or the Girl Scout program for their awards at the sort of the end of their scouting program. We do a lot of Eagle Scout programs with the kids. So we're always looking for ways to engage the community. And so if you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to hear from you. And I'm going to turn this presentation over to the City Administrator, Mike Geisel. My last slide is if you want to contact one of the areas of the Parks and Rec Department individually, there's emails and phone numbers attached.
All right, Tom, before you leave, there's one question for you. And the question is, will there be a southeast entrance to the Riparian Trail where the old entrance path was removed? And what about additional parking for the trail? I believe they're referring to the new entrance at the Watermark Apartments.
Okay, so that is correct. There is a entrance for the Riparian Trail. It's right across the street from the pool parking lot. And we actually have stop signs in there now at Lydia Hill and Veterans Place Drive that Public Works put in, so it's great. So you can get from the pool parking lot, you can walk right across the street onto the trail. And so the trail's there, the trailhead's there, and Watermark worked with the planning department to have a nice landscape entrance to the Riparian Trail. And we're looking forward to getting the second and third phase of the trail done starting late 2021. So look forward for more information on that. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Tom. Well, welcome everyone. We actually have a pretty robust crowd tonight. Last count, I saw 38 people participating. This is an unusual environment at best, but it was critical to us that we wanted to continue. I believe this is our 4th annual Trustee Symposium. And while there's a lot of information being shared, the purpose of tonight is to re-engage, to create relationships, to put a face to a name, and encourage you, not necessarily just to go to the website or call, but not to hesitate. If there's a question, there's an issue, to reach out. You are our tentacles in the community. We rely on you to communicate with your residents. We rely on you to provide us feedback about what's going on in your neighborhoods as we go through our daily activity. So I'm going to wrap this up with just a couple of very general things. We'll talk about the transparency portal, meeting agendas on our calendars, the importance of keeping your trustee information up to date, so we're not sending information up into cyberspace and it not getting where it's supposed to go, and how you can sign up for some city emails or our social media, and if you so desire, how do you want to become more involved with the city. So first, on our website, and you've heard a lot of people talk about things that are on our website. I'll talk about the transparency portal a little bit, but first off, our website is undergoing some revisions. It's going to change in the near future. We've got a new look to it, a streamlined look. So it will be changing. It's in beta development right now. So if it looks different in the future, don't be surprised. But there's so much information on our website that I find it hard to find things sometimes. So if you can't find it readily, there's a search bar right on top. And if you type in whatever information, a keyword or anything, it will give you a list of things that you can pick from. It'll take you right there. So sometimes you overlook the obvious, and that search bar is right there available for you. So the transparency portal is right on our home website. Council wanted to provide this information so that the community had access to what was critical, what thought to be critical information, and we just don't have the means in any other way to make sure that everybody sees it. So there's all sorts of stuff here. It was originally thought that, you know, we want to provide all the financial information for the city so that as we're spending taxpayer dollars, that we're accountable for where it goes. So the transparency portal is in the bottom right-hand corner of our main page. And that takes you to then this page where you can choose what you might want to look at. And there's certainly all of the financial information on there, budget reports, financial reports. Every month we publish a list of excess checks, and that's checks that are written in excess of $5,000. They're individually listed, so you know what those are. And then we have financial updates. All of our departments prepare a monthly departmental update, and they're incredibly detailed in what's in them. So you hit on the tab for the monthly department updates. It'll ask you if you want the parks update, the public works update, the police department update, planning and development services. All of those departments have their own updates. So if you're, say, interested in a street project that's underway and you want to know what's being planned or what the progress is on a certain project, you can pull up the Public Works Capital Update, and you can certainly get detailed information about everything that's going on. You get statistics, development information, crime statistics. So there's a wealth of information there. We put it out there, and I hope it's useful to you. It goes as far down then, if you want to go down further, personnel information. It lists every position in the city, what the pay rates are, what individual compensation is, so that everything's above board, and our policy manuals are on line as well. Our calendars, there's all sorts of calendars. There's a calendar on the website that has all the city meetings on there, all the official governmental body meetings. The next calendar is if there's a community event. If, for example, your subdivision is having some sort of street festival or a parade and you want to put it on that calendar, call the front desk. We'll certainly, we've got real people answering those phones. Not, we do have an overload system that'll go to a recorder, but we've got people there that want to talk to you, that want to take that information. Call the front desk, 537-4000. Tell them you want to put your event on our community calendar, and that's exactly what that is for. And then you have an overall calendar that provides basically everything in one compiled document. Subdivision trustees, as I said, you are our conduit to the community, and hopefully you feel that link back to us as well so that you can share that information. As such, it is critically important that you keep your information up to date so that when you go to the subdivision listing or we're trying to find out who we need to contact when something is going on in your neighborhood, that's where we get our information. So you can keep that on. It's user controlled. You put the information in. So it is important to check it periodically and make sure that all that data is up to date. We truly try not to abuse that data. We don't send emails that are not important. We don't try to communicate with you for superfluous reasons. We try to limit it to legitimate business purposes, so you don't have to worry about just getting deluged with all sorts of information. This is a pretty interesting feature, and it's not used as extensively as I think it should, but those that use it will rave about it. If you have a specific interest area, whether it's parks, field closing, road closings, public hearings, a crime issue, or if you have an interest in what the river levels are, we started out with a flood watch. If you have a specific interest area, When we post a news item, we post a social media post, it can automatically be sending you an email. Again, user control. You sign up for this email list and you put in your name, you put in your email address, you tell us what you're interested in, and in those particular areas, you subscribe to that list, and you can unsubscribe anytime you want. So when we send a notice out that we're going to have a street closure on Shetler Road for whatever reason, you're going to know that before it happens. We try to take great pains to communicate with everyone. A well-informed citizenry is our best friend. So we try to share that information, and this is just another channel that we can use to get that information out to you. And if you find it to be too much for you at a later date, you can unsubscribe. This is nothing that we force feed out there. It's strictly up to you. It's user controlled. So if you want to become more involved with the city, there are numerous boards and commissions that our elected officials are constantly looking to fill with eager volunteers. So again, on our website, they have a list of all those boards and commissions, but better yet, communicate with the elected officials in your ward. Their names and contact information is on our website as well. I'm sure if you're a trustee, I'm sure you're on a first name basis with them anyway. But they're looking for your input as well. They'd love for you to be more involved, and there's no better way to have an impact on your community than stepping in and helping out. So finally, again, this is our way of maintaining our relationship with you, as stressed as it may be this year. But if there is a mechanism that we can assist to better help you, we want to hear about it, because we want to make those connections, make those relationships much more effective and much more frequent. So with that being said, Justin, are there any questions?
So there is, the first one is a follow-up to one that was asked previously. The initial question was, will the presentation be available to the attendees? And the answer was yes, we're looking to get a recording on as soon as possible. And the follow-up was, and a PDF of the presentation as well.
We can certainly do. We can put a PDF and we can put the recording of the meeting on the website. Again, the website gets a little bit cluttered, so I have to talk to our IT people, but it will be made available, yes.
And then we have one follow-up question for Jim Eckrich. The question is, would someone explain the insect spraying program? How often do they spray? What times? And how does the public get information on this?
Okay, spraying in the city of Chesterfield is done by St. Louis County through contract. The St. Louis County Department of Health provides that service. If you go on the city's website, go to departments and public works, there's a page on that. It's listed mosquito spraying or vector control. But specifically, the number with St. Louis County is 314-615-0680 to speak to someone, or if you just want information, they update a number regularly, 314-615-4284. That's actually 615-4-BUG, and they will, there's a recorded information you can get from there, but that is provided by St. Louis County.
I will add to that, vector control, which again, we contract with St. Louis County. It used to be, back in the day, that you have the mosquito sprayers come by at one day a week all through the summer. Your kid riding a bike, you chase the fogger truck and all that sort of stuff, which probably shouldn't have done. Explains a lot. But they don't do that anymore. For them to send a sprayer out, they have to have an identified problem, an identified nuisance. So if you believe there's a mosquito problem, call the city, call St. Louis County Vector Control, and they will send an inspector out. They regularly do anyway. They know all the water bodies and normal places, and they send inspectors out. They check the water bodies. They put larvicide in a lot of those locations. But once they identify a mosquito breeding ground or a population, then they can respond and have a fogger, but they just don't randomly or automatically send the sprayer out anymore unless there's an identified need. So, is that it?
That is all we have.
I would like to thank you all one more time. We appreciate it. It's a 4th annual. Hopefully this time next year, we can do this personally. We'll bring donuts and coffee and hopefully have a good time. So thank you all very much and have a good evening. Don't hesitate to call us.